Okay, sorry for that, guys. Okay, so in blocking input output model, you will be starting and you will be doing all your process and coming back, guys. You're completely blocking the input output. So basically, whatever might happen, you're not going to take care about them. So by default, all sockets are blocked. Okay, so everything is blocked. Only the particular task which you are doing is only active. So there is no response back to you. Only you will be responding, and at the end, when everything is done, you'll be getting the final result. Okay. Okay. So initially you want to receive from this is application and this is kernel, guys. So you want to receive some data. So you sent a system call and here initially the datagram is not ready. Okay. So you wait. So it will be waiting for some time, right? So once the datagram is ready, it will be going through datagram ready, guys. So this process is nothing but waiting for data. And once the datagram is ready, you will be copying it down, guys. So copy datagram and copy completed. So this phase is nothing but copy datagram from kernel to user. So now you copied it here. So now you'll be returning the OK message. So indirectly now this copy has been generated at the user side only. Okay. So the process datagram has been received here. Okay, so in this way, the blocking input output will work. So, and this method is best for UDP, guys, because there is no need to establish connection and all those things. You can directly transfer the data. We use UDP in this diagram because it is easy, as we only have to deal with the sending and receiving the datagram. There is a switch for running the application to run in the kernel and return back to the application. So basically, once it started, it will be going there. Once the data is ready and complete, it will be returning back. So the most common errors occur when there is any system call interrupting the signal. So if something happens in between, then only there will be a issue. Okay. So I hope everyone got some basic idea about input output model, right? Blocking input output. Okay. So now let us go through non-blocking input output. So just the opposite. So when we set a socket to non-blocking input output, non-blocking, we tell the kernel that if input output request from me will put the process to sleep, return error instead of blocking them. So putting process to sleep. Okay. So this method is called polling, guys. So it often is a waste of CPU time, but sometimes it is used as a system decision as a one step function. Okay. So if you observe here carefully, so here you sent a request. Okay. But the datagram is not ready. Okay. So it will be sending a response back saying that it should block. Okay. Again, this sent a request. Again, this sent should block. So after some time, again, it is kept sending. So at the end, the data has been ready, guys. So once it is ready, you'll be copying it and you'll be sending it back. So in this way, it will be working. Okay. Right? Okay. So this is all about non-blocking input output, guys. So now let us go through input output multiplexing model. Okay. Okay, so an alternative method is using multi-threading instead of using select to block on multiple file descriptors. The program used is multiple threads, one per file description, and each thread is often free to call blocking system like a receive from. So basically here you will be requesting, guys. Okay, so here assume that you will be selecting initially the datagram. Okay, so you'll be selecting it and you'll be getting the datagram, and if it is not ready, it will wait until it is ready. So once it is ready, it will return back to the reachable. Like it is ready, it will be informing you. So once it informs you, again you'll be sending a system call which will be asking it to copy to the lower layer, that is nothing but from kernel to the user. Once it is ready, it will be sending it back to the user. Okay, so in this way it will be working, guys. So now let us go through single driven input output. So single driven input output is nothing but popularly called as SIGIO signal. Okay, which describes when it is ready, guys. Okay, so whenever it is ready, it will be describing in that way. Okay, so the protocol will be in this way. Okay, so even though the datagram is not ready, it will also send the response and it will wait until then. But here it will not send off in this way. Automatically when the data is ready, the kernel will only inform the application. So that is the only difference here. So this is a signal driven. So basically this signal is sending, the kernel is sending the signal. So that is the reason why this is called as a signal driven. Okay. Okay. So please go through the diagram and explanation, guys, because that will be clear for you. And the last one is nothing but asynchronous input output. So it works by telling the kernel to start the operation and notify the process when it is completed. Unlike signal driven, whenever the kernel notice is received, it will be initialized. Simple. So whenever it is ready, it will be initialized. That's it. Okay. Okay, so I hope everyone got some basic idea, guys, because I am also not 100% clear with these topics. I just gave you some introduction, guys. Whatever I understood, I teach you that. Okay. Okay, so in the next lecture we'll be going through out of a data band, guys. Okay, so let us meet in the next lecture. Thank you, thanks for watching. Hello guys, we are back with our next lecture. In this lecture, let us go through the concept of out of band data. Okay, so basically, I hope everyone knows that whenever the data transfer is going on, there will be a queue, right? So what to send next and how it is sending. So they will be sending packet by packet, and every packet will be added one after the other, right? So the in the buffer also it will be filling slowly, and exteriorly outgoing is also be going slowly, right? Okay, so if there is any kind of technical issue or anything, so if a particular device wants to inform it, how it will be informing it, guys? Because this buffer will automatically be filling, right? So that could be an issue, right? So that is the reason why we'll be giving this a higher priority, so that avoiding all these things, this will be transmitted after the particular packet, and this will be informing that there is an issue and all those things. So this concept, like this is out of band, right? So if you assume this as a band, this is out of band, this particular bit or this particular packet, you can say. So this is the concept of out of band, guys. Okay, so out of band data is an urgent data. So this is nothing but an important data which should be sent right now, which if occurred at one end of the network connection causes that end to tell the peer immediates irrespective of any flow control and blocking issue. So even though if it is blocked or if there is any kind of issue, it will not see anything, guys. It will automatically push as far as near to the next node, and that node will be pushing to the next node, like that it continues till the destination. Okay, so the word immediate indicates that this data is sent before the normal data. Even though the normal data is already queued, out of bound data has high priority when compared to normal data. So that is the reason why this data is pushed and this data is sent automatically. Okay, so the concept of out of bound is mainly arised in the transport layer. Okay, so protocols like SPP and TCP. So you might be having it out like TCP, we know that is nothing but transmission control protocol. But what is this SPP? So SPP is nothing but sequenced packet protocol. So here I told you, right, sequence. So the same concept is applied in sequence packet protocol, guys. Okay, supports this data in a different ways, whereas UDP does not support, guys, because it is a wireless, right? So there you'll be directly sending the packets in multiple paths. So there will be no chance of any kind of issues and all those things. Okay. Okay. So guys, I did not find a proper theoretical explanation for both of them. The only point which I got clearly understood is that SPP out of bandwidth is simple to apply, whereas a TCP applying is a bit tough. Okay. Guys, if you find any kind of website or anywhere the theory about these two things, please let me know. And please, if you are watching it on YouTube, you just drop the link in the description, guys, so that it will be clear for someone else who is watching the video later on. Or I'll be making sure that I'll pin the comment also. Okay. Okay. And the next topic that we should discuss was internet super server, but this topic also it did not find, guys. So if anyone is having that topic reference note or anything, you can just share it with me. Okay. Okay, so in the next lecture we'll be going through some important topics of this chapter, guys. I think we almost missed 3 to 4 topics from this chapter, guys. Okay, so let us meet in the next lecture. Thank you, thanks for watching.